Hi guys, Casper MMA here, and today we're back with another Cage Warriors predictions video on the channel. And today we're giving my predictions for Cage Warriors 187, Clancy versus Gomes. The last prediction video I made on Cage Warriors was the last card 186 Hardwick, when the two Hardwick brothers are fighting. One won, one didn't. I didn't do too bad on picks. If you look back, the prelims was pretty shocking. I got like 4 wrong in a row, and it was all going wrong. But the main card came around, and we got every fight right on the main card, apart from like the Joyner versus someone else, when there was like 1 second KO or something stupid. Literally, it was like so quick. But yeah, that was kind of a bit bullshit, anyways, because like it wasn't even like he was meant to touch gloves, and then he just knocked him out. So bit of bullshit there, but we did pretty well on the main card. But this week we're in Scotland, and there's some good Scottish fighters on this card, so I'm looking forward to giving my predictions for it. But before I do that, make sure if you guys are new around here and you're enjoying this content, you go down below and hit the subscribe button. It's free and it's really appreciated. So there is 16 fights on this card. I better get going because there's many fights. I probably won't go into it as much detail as some of the first fights as towards the end of the card, because you know, we don't have time really. I don't want to waste all your time. But we're going to kick things off with the first fight of Ian Postlethwaite versus Tom Wright. Now, I should do better than normal pronouncing these names, because they're all like Scottish and like English. But I probably fuck it up anyways. But Ian Postlethwaite, 7-7 in MMA, Scottish man, 33 years of age. Lost his last fight, but he was on a 4-fight winning streak before that. Not too shabby. Has lost a few decent opponents, lost a few bad ones as well, but he's got a few good wins in his career. In Cage Warriors, he's 1-1, I think, or 1-0, I'm not sure. But his opponent Tom Wright, on the other hand, is 1-2 record. So he also lost his last fight, but he fought Joe Fields, who is a good opponent. Then before that, he fought Jimmy Quinn, won by all of his fights have been finished by submission. 2 of them he's lost, 1 of them he's won. I mean, both the guys he's lost to have been like undefeated, 1-0. But I mean, both of them went on to be pretty good fighters. Joe Fields and Abubakar Yusanov did beat Jimmy Quinn. So I think Tom Wright is a decent opponent, well, decent fighter, just come up against some hard opponents. So I do think he's going to get the win against Postlethwaite here, who's not got the greatest record in the world. So I think Wright is going to get the submission. Now, moving up the card too. Reggie Hingston versus Gary Priestley. Now, both these guys, similar records, not many fights in MMA. 1-1 for Hingston, 2-2 for Priestley. Well, 2-2-1. He's got 1 draw in there as well. So Priestley, he won his last fight against Matthew Friel. Not a bad win, to be fair. It was a split decision though. He's lost most of his fights. Well, lost all his fights by submission, so he's not very good at defending them. But he has a win by submission himself in his career. He had a no contest against Lee Percival, then lost to Lee Percival again. Has a draw on his career as well. Reggie Hingston, on the other hand, 1-1. Scottish man. Won his first fight in MMA by KO, then lost to Ryan Hewitt by KO in his next fight. So not the best record, not the worst really. But I do think that Priestley is going to get this job done. I mean, I feel like in his wins he's looked better than Hingston. And I mean, Hingston's like got KO'd by Ryan Hewitt, which isn't the greatest look in the world. So I think that Priestley is going to get the decision. Now, moving up the card too. Chris Morris versus Christian Soda. Now, both these guys, this is their first professional fight against each other. I mean, both of them are 0-0 records. So I'm just going to have to go over their amateur records for you guys. The 11-2 for Chris Morris, amateur. I mean, looks pretty good. He's only lost twice. Once to Dennis Frimpong, who's a pretty good fighter now, and once to Josh O'Connor as well. Apart from that, many wins, a lot of finishes in there, a lot of decision wins as well. On his amateur career, looked pretty good. Christian Soda, on the other hand, 7-4, so also a decent amateur record as well. Has lost his last 2 fights by decision, but before that, got a few decision wins in there. Lost to Shea Ingram, who's a very good fighter, but he's got some finishes in there as well. So I think both of these guys have got a good chance of winning this one, but I'm going to back in Chris Morris to get this job done. I mean, both of these guys are English as well, so I think either guys could get it done, but I'm going to go for Chris Morris to get the decision. Now, moving up the card to, where we are, Jamie MacDonald versus Brian Draper. Now, Jamie MacDonald is 3-1. He is Scottish. He did lose his last fight. He was 3-0 professional, but then he lost to Neil Ariano by KO in Cage Warriors. But apart from that, he's had all finishes, I think, maybe. Well, he's had 2 finishes and then 1 win. It doesn't really tell me what that was. Brian Draper on the other hand, Irishman. Is this his first fight professionally? It was 3-6 on his amateur record, so not the greatest amateur record in the world, I've got to say. But yeah, that's all I've got to go for there. I'm going to go with Jay MacDonald to win. I mean, he's shown he's decent in Pro MMA, so I'm going to go with MacDonald to get the KO. Now, moving up the card to Damon Donald versus Italo Tratner. Now, Damon Donald, undefeated Scottish man, 3-0. Looks pretty decent. I mean, his first 2 wins came by KO, and then his last one was by decision. He's fought some alright opponents as well in there. I think he looks a pretty decent fighter. His opponent, Italo Tratner, is Israeli, 9-7 record. Nearly as many losses as he has wins. He's on a 2-fight losing streak at the minute. Once by KO, lost in his first fight in Cage Warriors to an undefeated man, which I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because that is very long. But before that, he's won 2 in a row, lost 2 in a row. He's half decent record, but I don't think he's going to be as good as Damon Donald is. I just think Damon Donald looked pretty good in his first 3 fights, so I'm going to go with Donald to get the KO. Now, moving up the card to Ryan Campbell versus Sean Fraser. Now, this was a decent fight, to be fair. Both opponents are 2-0 professionally. Campbell, it's a Scottish man in Campbell versus an English man in Fraser. Campbell's 2 wins, both coming by decision in his career. Last win was in Cage Warriors, got a win over 0-0 Hotak. Fraser, on the other hand, 2-0 as well. Both the same age as well, so very similar fighters, these two. Did beat Tariq Pell in his last fight by decision, which is a good win because Tariq Pell is a decent fighter, and then won by KO in his first fight against Enuka. Now, also undefeated amateur record as well. So, this is a close fight. Both guys very similar fighters, but I'm going to go back with Fraser to get the job done. I feel like he's just had looked better in his got better wins on his record, and I think he's just looked a better fighter. So I'm going to go with Fraser to get the decision. Now, moving up the card to Jordan Stronge versus Chris Hayes. Now, Jordan Stronge is 3-1 in his professional career. Beat Wesley Machado in his last fight by KO. Wesley Machado's not the greatest fighter. I think he's like 3-7 record. I mean, before that he lost a split decision to Jordan Little, and then obviously he won his last 2. So he's 3-1. He's got some alright wins in there, to be fair. Some finishes. Chris Hayes in the event, 1-0. He's Englishman. Won his first professional fight back in 2020 by submission. Hasn't fought since then. I mean, I think he's alright at getting submissions. I mean, all of his wins in amateur were by submission as well, I think. But he has lost a lot of finishes in his amateur career as well. So I'm going to back Jordan Stronge to get this job done. I mean, he's had 3 more fights professionally than Hayes has, and I just feel like Stronge's not a bad fighter, so I'm going to go Stronge to get the submission. Now, moving up the card to Aaron Towns versus Jack Foote. Now, 2 Scottish men fighting each other, both with 0-0 records. So, like the other fight, we're going to have to go to the amateur records. Towns is 9-8 in the amateur. Beat Reggie Hingston, who I think we've just talked about in this card, I'm pretty sure. I might be going crazy. He's fought some decent fighters, to be fair, in his amateur record. Won a couple of them, lost a couple of them as well. He's on a 2-fight win streak in his last 2 fights in amateur. Jack Foote, on the other hand, 6-3 amateur record. 4 wins of them have been by submission. He's pretty decent at that. Has been finished twice, though, as well. One by punches, one by guillotine. So it could go either way. I mean, not much to go for either of them. I mean, amateur records sometimes relate to their professionals, sometimes don't. So I'm going to go Foote to get this job done, and I feel like he's going to get the submission. Now, moving up the card too, I got Wojtas versus Raz Bring. Now, Wojtas 11-9 professionally, not the greatest record, but I do think that doesn't portray how good he is as a fighter. I mean, he is on a 2-fight winning streak in a minute. Had a head kick KO. In one of them, and then a decision in Cage Warriors. Before that, he did lose twice in a row. Beat Ian Postlethwaite, who we just discussed on this card as well. So see a few fighters fighting each other in that. Was on quite a big winning streak, to be fair, when he was 7-4 at one point, but then it went a bit downhill. So I do quite like Wojtas. Raz Bring, on the other hand, 7-5 record, another Israeli on the card. As In his last 4 fights, has lost 3 of them and drew 1, so he's not on the greatest run at the minute. Got finished in one of them as well. Wasn't a decent winning streak, to be fair, before that. But yeah, I just don't think he's going to be as good as Wojtas is, and I think Wojtas is going to get the KO now. Moving up the card too. Rhys McEwan versus Wesley Maia now. Rhys McEwan, he's a good fighter, 8-3. Got 5 submission wins in his career. A win by submission in his last fight against Miguel Harrow by rear naked choke. Before that, he had two decision losses. But most of his wins have come by either KO or submission, so he's quite dangerous. It's Rhys McEwan. On the other hand, Wesley Maia, 10-6 record, Brazilian man. He is pretty decent. I mean, he's only lost once in his last 5 fights, with some decent wins in there as well. Lewis McGrill and Evans, really good win. Alexander Loof as well, good win. So he's got some decent wins. Lost a couple times by decision in his career as well. Was in PFL, won once in there. That's when he beat McGrill and Evans. Came to Cage Warriors, lost 1, won 1. So this could be a good fight, I think. I can see it's going either way, but I'm going to back Maia to get this job done. I mean, I feel like he's got some decent wins on his career, and I feel like he's going to get the decision. Now, moving up the card too, Scott Malone versus Daniel Bainbridge. Now, Scott Malone, 9-7 record. Not the worst, not the best. 37 years of age, so he's getting on a bit. He's on a 3-fight losing streak at the minute. 2 of them by decision, then got knocked out in his last fight in round number 3. I mean, he loves going on like 3-fight losing streaks. He went on back in 2019. He went on a 3-fight losing streak, losing to like Jack Shaw and some other good opponents. But then he went on a 3-fight winning streak. Now he's on another 3-fight losing streak. His opponent, Daniel Bainbridge, is undefeated, 4-0 Englishman. Looks pretty decent. I mean, he's got some good wins in his career as well. I mean, 3 of them have come by decision, and then his first fight he won by KO in round number 1. So I like the look of Daniel Bainbridge. He looks like a decent fighter, so I've got him to win by decision. Now, moving up the card too. Paull McBain versus Bailey Gilbert. Now, Paull McBain, 8-3 record, just like McEwan was before. He's a Scottish man, 36 years of age. Won his last fight by KO in Cage Warriors back in April last year. Before that, lost by KO, won by KO. He lost by submission a couple of times. He looks alright. I mean, most of his wins come by KO, McBain, so he's a quite dangerous man, even at 36. Bailey Gilbert, on the other hand, 9-6 record. He's the younger man. He's 11 years younger, 25 years, but not done so well recently. I mean, he's won his last fight, but before that, got KO'd by Orlando Wilson Prince, lost by decision before that. Wasn't a good run in some other promotions, but he's come to Cage Warriors and hasn't really looked the level. So I'm going to go with McBain to get this job done. He is the older fighter, but I reckon he can still get the KO. Now, move up in the card too. Chris Bungard versus Artūrs Leisāns. Now, definitely butchered his name. Artūrs Leisāns from Latvia. He's 9-8 record, so not a great. I mean, there seems to be a lot of people on this card with even 9-7, 9-8 records. A lot of these guys not had too many wins compared to losses. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, both by submission. Lost to Chase and Blair, who's a good fighter, but then lost to some guy I'm not going to try and pronounce because it's a long name. Beat some guy by submission before that. I mean, most of his wins have come by finish. He's only went to decision twice in his career. 7 wins by KO, so he's a pretty decent fighter. He's dangerous. Chris Bungard, on the other hand, is 36, but he's 20-10 record, pretty decent. 11 of those wins coming by submission, so he's good on the ground. Won his last fight by submission in Forza 13. I don't know what the hell that sounds like a car game. But before that, lost twice in Cage Warriors to some decent fighters, to be fair. But to be fair, yeah, he's not had a bad record, to be fair. He usually wins a couple, loses a couple, wins a couple. I mean, he fought for the belt against George Hardwick and stuff. So I think Chris Bungard, even at his old age, he's still pretty good. I mean, in fact, he gets a lot of wins by submission. Leisāns has lost his last 2 fights by decision. I think Bungard is going to get the submission now, moving up the card too. Keir Harvie versus Alexandros Moumtzis. God knows what I've just said there. But Alexandros, the Greek man, he's undefeated, 8-0. He looks decent, 25 years of age as well. He's had one loss in grappling, but that doesn't count. He's won his last fight by decision. Got a couple KOs in there, most of them going to decision though. 6 wins by decision. Keir Harvie, on the other hand, very good Scottish fighter, 8-3-2. I mean, he's had 2 draws back to back in his career, which is kind of crazy. 2022 drew by decision, then he had a split draw in 2023, so that's kind of crazy. But he's lost after that. He lost a decision in Bellator, but since then he's had 3 wins in a row, so he's looked pretty good, to be fair. So I can see Harvie winning here. I can definitely see him winning, but I can also see Moumtzis winning as well. So it's going to be a good fight, but I do think that Harvie is going to be the fighter to take Moumtzis. And I think Harvie's going to win by decision. Now, moving up the card too, the co-main event, I think Aidan Stephen versus Jordy Bakkes. Now, Bakkes, I've probably said that wrong. Aidan Stephen, 10-5, another Scottish man in the co-main, 33 years of age. He's on a 1-fight losing streak. He lost to Alexandros in his last fight. Before that, though, he's had a couple wins by decision. I mean, most of his wins have come by decision. Lost to some decent fighters in his career, like Paul Hughes and Tobias Harilla, who are both like very good records when he fought them. Has some good wins, to be fair, as well. Sonmez, Jack Collins. He's beat some decent fighters in his career, so he looks pretty decent, Stephen. Jordy Bakkes, on the other hand, 6-3 record, 6-3-1. Always leave off the draw because who really cares about their draws. He lost in his last fight to Nick Bagley, who's on the last Cage Warriors card, I think, who's pretty good, so not the worst loss ever. Would beat Ryan Shelley by submission before that. Drew to some guy in Cage Warriors, so he's 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss in his Cage Warriors career, so it's very average at the minute. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to be as good as Stephen's going to be in this fight. So, I'm going to back Stephen to get the job done by decision. Now, moving up the card too. Sean Clancy Jr. versus Italo Gomes. Now, Sean Clancy Jr., really like him. 6-0, undefeated fighter. He's very good, I've got to say. He's 4-0 in Cage Warriors. All of his wins in his career have come by finish. I think 4 of them by KO, 2 by submission. So he's a very dangerous man, I've got to say. I do like him a lot. I watched him in his last fight. Italo Gomes, on the other hand, is 13-4. So not a bad record, to be fair. 28 years old. Won his last fight by KO. Before that, lost a split decision in the LFA. I mean, he has some good wins in his career, to be fair. I mean, he lost a majority decision to Wellington Prado, who's a good fighter. Before that, beat Mizico Costa, who is a UFC level fighter who's actually quite good. So that's a pretty decent win to have on your record. So I mean, he's a pretty good fighter, is Gomes, but so is Sean Clancy Jr. So I can see it's been a fun fight. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm going to back the Scottish man to get the job done. I think Sean Clancy Jr. is going to win, and I reckon he gets the KO. So there are my picks for Cage Warriors 187. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of my picks. And that's going to be all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, maybe leave a like, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.